I want to tell you something strange. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly important. It's about space. Not outer space, but the space inside you, inside matter, inside everything. We grow up thinking space is just the backdrop, a blank stage for the real things to happen on. But what if the stage itself is alive? What if space is not what it seems? Because the more physics studies emptiness, the more we realize that nothing is nothing. Let's start with you. You're made of atoms, more than 1 billion times 1 billion times 1 billion of them. But each atom is mostly space. The nucleus, it's dense and heavy, it sits at the center. And the electrons, they orbit far away, like distant moons. If you could enlarge a single atom until it was the size of a poppy seed, the nearest electron would be over 100 meters away. And between them, just space. No particles, no mass, just nothing. You feel solid, but you're built from almost entirely empty structure. Atoms stacked on atoms, 99.9999% open. And yet, you function, you think, you love. So what is all that space doing? You know, maybe it's not a flaw. Maybe it's part of the design. For most of human history, we thought we understood nothing. The Greeks argued about it. Aristotle said that nature abhors a vacuum, that true emptiness couldn't possibly exist. To him, the universe would always rush in to fill the gap. Then Newton came along and he said, no, space could be perfectly empty, like a container, a box with invisible walls. Later, Einstein said the box wasn't fixed at all. It could bend, warp, stretch. But even Einstein thought that if you took everything out, every atom, every photon, every bit of heat, that you'd be left with a quiet, smooth, inactive vacuum, just nothing. And for a while, that's what most scientists believed. But in 1948, a physicist named Hendrik Casimir had a different idea. He believed that a perfect vacuum might still contain energy. It couldn't be seen, but maybe he thought it could be felt. He proposed an experiment. Take 2 metal plates, put them just nanometers apart in a vacuum, and wait. If the vacuum was truly empty, then nothing should happen. But Casimir predicted that the plates would move, that the energy of empty space would push them together. Well, people laughed at him. The idea went against centuries of thinking. But he was right. It took nearly 50 years to prove it. In the 1990s, Steve Lamoureux built the experiment. Gold-coated plates, laser alignment, a chamber cleaner than outer space. And then came movement. The plates shifted slowly, softly. They were pushed together by nothing, or rather by the energy in what we thought was nothing. It was called the Casimir effect, and it was the first real-world evidence that a vacuum isn't empty at all. Even in the deepest silence, the universe hums. So, scientists asked a new question. How much energy is in the vacuum? They used quantum field theory, the most precise framework we currently have for describing particles and forces. The math was solid, the tools were sharp. And what came back, well, was absurd. The theory predicted that vacuum energy should be unimaginably large, huge, so huge the universe should have exploded the instant it formed. But we know it didn't. When we measure the actual expansion of space, the real energy is still there, but it's 10 to the 120 times smaller than the theory predicted. That's a 1 followed by 120 zeros. This is perhaps the biggest mismatch between prediction and reality in the history of science. And scientists still don't know why. Some believe this vacuum energy is tied to what we now call dark energy, the mysterious force stretching the universe apart. Others think it's a clue that something about our understanding of reality is still missing. Maybe gravity, time, consciousness, information. We don't know what the vacuum is hiding, but we know it's hiding something. And here's the most interesting part, perhaps the strangest part. The same kind of energy, this flickering, invisible buzz, exists not just between galaxies, but between every atom inside you. You were built from mostly space, and space is never truly empty. So the next time that you do feel empty, maybe hollow, maybe in between things, think about this. The parts of you that seem quiet may be where the real work is happening. Stillness is not absence, and emptiness is not failure, because what we've found is that what looks like nothing may be the birthplace of everything. Thanks for joining me for this soothing science wonder. If you enjoyed this, I think you'll like the 1 Minute Wonder podcast, available on all your favorite platforms daily. And next, for some more calm in your day, click this next video and I'll see you there.